Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday, April 28th, and you have tuned into the NFT Morning Show. If it is your first time tuning in, we run this show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time each and every week, where we discuss all things NFTs, crypto, technology, entertainment, gaming, finance, and just about everything in between. I'm your host, P.O., here with my co-host, Nifty Nick, funniest man in the business. Love hearing his takes about the NFT space and outside the NFT space. Signal, a coder turned content creator, the host of the Artist Spotlight vertical at the Nifty. We absolutely love hearing her sophisticated takes and, of course, her everyday weather reports that we just can't get enough of. Easy, the dog behind Bodoggos, the host of GM Market Talk, a rising star in the NFT space in general. Watch out for Bodoggos soon to hit a blockchain near you. Kicks, the CEO of the Crypto Raiders Gaming Studio. They just put out Cyber Stadium at this point, what, about a month ago, Kicks? Are we a month into Cyber Stadium? Prize pool looking thick.
Yeah, 700 people have died. 700 gladiators have died. Like over 70,000 paid out and $220,000 still in the prize pool, dude. So it's pretty awesome.
100% of the prize pool goes to the players. Clemente, of course, sporting his new Azuki bean. Very cool. PFP, the producer, the man behind the scenes, would not be able to do the show without Clemente. And of course, last but not least, we have Bunny. Bunny, your bio just says that you're the #1 NFT influencer on BlueSky.
Yeah, have you used BlueSky yet, Theo?
I made an account.
Motherfucker, you don't even follow me. Oh, I follow you, dude. I don't think you followed back.
I've only logged on once. What's going on over at BlueSky?
So it's exactly like Twitter, except there's nobody using it.
Dude, Bunny's low-key the funniest guy ever. I literally saw him make this joke on Twitter, and his post on BlueSky is like, hey, what's up? Follow me on Twitter, and just like tags his handle back. You know what I mean?
You got to cross-pollinate, Kicks.
I love it, dude. That's good marketing.
Are you getting crazy conversion from BlueSky to Twitter? Bunny, is it pumping your Twitter numbers?
0 followers, dude. He tweeted out to 0 followers.
The first guy that followed me was just like some regular dude, not into NFTs at all. And he followed like 50,000 people, and he had like 30,000 followers. It's a shit show over there.
Nick, you cut your teeth in the social media world. What do you make of BlueSky?
The dumbest thing ever. I mean, a lot of people are trying to we've seen there's Mastodon social also, and it's basically like a bunch of people get angry and they're like, I've had enough with this platform. We're going to build another Twitter clone, which you can literally just like download the code. Like there's to create a basic Twitter clone is not all that complicated, and there's like code available just to like kind of churn the whole thing out. The reality is like you don't get the same network effects, and the problem is, well, to be fair, it's kind of like crypto. You get the early adopters make a ton of money, and they try and like get everybody else to join. If you get
who made BlueSky?
It's Jack.
No,
Jack Dorsey?
No, Satoshi Tweetamoto. Actually,
no, Jack Dorsey from Twitter.
The guy that made Twitter. He's just running it back.
No,
is it actually?
Yeah, he sold Twitter to make a new Twitter.
No, he's an investor in it.
Same fucking thing.
Yeah,
that's what crypto Twitter thinks about it, but I don't know. It's
the best part about BlueSky is there's a strong movement from the users of the platform to change. Like we have tweets here. They're just called posts over on BlueSky, but strong community movement to change it to skeets.
Ooh, I like that.
I also love BlueSky, like Bluebird, dude. These like there's like 90% overlap here. Like, you know, what's going down?
Is it?
It's identical to Twitter.
Buddy, what were you calling them? Skizzies?
No, they're skeets.
So wait, real quick. So is it a like political response to Elon Musk? Is that what BlueSky represents?
No, Mastodon was more around privacy and data, and I would say that was a bigger one against it. But that could have been started at any point. I don't know, like it now wasn't necessary. The BlueSky one was, it was in response to there was some action that was taken, and I don't remember what it was. But let's be honest, like it's not like they created it in a week. Like it took a little bit of effort.
Yeah, it took like 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is whoever's been naming these recent social media platforms, fire them. They suck at their job. Mastodon sounds like a dead dinosaur from like 10,000 BC, right? BlueSky, laziest name ever. Like TikTok, great fucking name. You know what I mean? Whoever came up with the name TikTok should be naming these new social media platforms. No one else.
What name would you give BlueSky, Kicks?
I'm not a good namer. I'd kick it to Bunny.
We have a naming.
You put me on the spot. I don't have a name for this thing.
Bunny's not creative, Kicks. Nick, go ahead.
We have a naming agency, and I'm not going to name the names that they gave us, but some of the names that they gave us yesterday, I could see as like proper social media sites, and they're pretty good along the lines of like a TikTok or something like that.
I love that agency. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, it's Friday. It's a loose little Friday here. Nick, how you moving into that apartment, man? You feeling good about the apartment situation? You got your identical setup. You got your heated floors in the bathroom. What's the story there, Nick?
It's a nice apartment. I was thinking this morning, this is the most ludicrous thing. So from the shower, you can't see out the window. But if you were to place a mirror against the wall, you could see out the window. And I was like, is it worth the money to put a mirror in the bedroom right in one location so you can get that view from the shower? And part of me feels like, yeah, like maybe that is worth it. I don't know. Like mirrors are all about expanding the rooms outside of looking at yourself. Those are the two things did
you catch up on Succession or something? You're all caught up?
No, I'm setting up a queue of Succession right now.
Well, let me tell you, episode 5 was juicy. Let me tell you, episode 5 was really something. I'm a big fan of Kendall, the actor that plays Kendall. I have long felt is the strongest performer on the show, with everyone else being exceptional. But Macaulay Culkin's brother really gave a tour de force acting effort in that episode 5. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the show's not about a Succession, although it would be fun to do a show all about that. It's an NFT show. And today we're going to discuss the latest Moonbirds /proof mistake and what it means for the future of that project. Luca and Pudgy Penguins, their collectible teaser. And last but not least, Coinbase's Brian Armstrong gearing up for a battle against the SEC. Quick shout out to our sponsor. We'd like to take a moment to thank them, Segmint. So you've heard us talk about Segmint before. Segmint is a new cutting-edge NFT platform that is revolutionizing your access to digital assets. With their innovative lock and key model, NFT owners can lock their assets in Segmint smart contracts to create access keys in the form of ERC 1155 tokens. Those tokens allow more users to share ownership of the underlying asset, making it easier than it's ever been before to unlock liquidity and delegate utility from otherwise illiquid assets. So Segment's been working closely with other NFT projects, other Web3 companies during their alpha testing phase. So you're early on this to build a platform that's not only intuitive and user-friendly, but also it doesn't compromise on security and asset custody. And we know how important that is in this space. This means that you can trust Segmint to safeguard your most valuable assets while still giving you that flexibility that we were talking about before to share them with others. So go to segment.io and sign up for Segment's beta to discover the future of asset sharing in the NFT space. And our listeners who join their Discord right now will receive a special role for being part of the Nifty audience. So check out the link that's pinned to the top to join their Discord. I'm sure Clemente has it pinned up there, and we'll rock and roll. Anyway, let's get right into the weather report. We got Kicks on weather today. Kicks, please take it away.
Awesome. Not only would I take it away, I did some thinking on what I would name a social media platform. Diddle Daddle came to my mind, and I was like, that's too long. So Diddle, that sounds like it's made for pedophiles. So Daddle. is the name that I would make for my social media platform. And let's get right into the weather report.
And your dad.
Today. Exactly. Friday, the 28th of April, 2023. Total market volume looking pretty weak out there, 19.1 million. Blur used to do like 8 times that on its own. Blur down 11.7. OpenSea to 6.1 million. It's like someone just pulled the rug out on liquidity. Looking over at leaders, they're still doing okay. Apes, 51. Mutants, 11. Punks, 53.5. We don't even need volume. They're fine. We don't need it. Azuki, 15.7. He doesn't need volume. It's doing fine. D-Gods, fine, 7.9. Captain, 7.8, fine. Pudgies, could use some liquidity, 4, okay. Moonbirds, 2.2. No one wants those anymore. Over the past 24 hours, Moonbirds faced FUD again for the 9th time after Diamond Exhibition Raffle didn't go to plan after a technical mistake. Holders with multiple passes ended up receiving the same artwork several times. The team responded quickly with a solution and will reshuffle the raffle. Moonbird sold off the news, floor down at 2.2. Oops. 10KTF X Grailed Puma Slipstream Mint Passes have hit the market. Holders of the Mint Pass can burn it to redeem digital and physical shoes. Shoe size 44 has the lowest floor of 0.49, but shoe sizes 48.5 and 38.5 are selling for over 1.5 each. There's got to be some European shoe sizes or something. I don't know about that. Grant Young's Nifty Gateway drop sold out despite being botted, the website crashing, and transactions failing. The 1299 collection sold out, raising almost 400K. That's some cash. And secondary is trading over 2x at $650. Everybody wants a little piece of Grant Young. Lastly, Yuga Lab's new CEO, Danielle Allegre, gave his first ever interview to Bloomberg. Allegre said that they plan to allow other companies to develop products and events for other side. And he also noted that Dookie Dash produced average revenue per user figures that were numbers that I, as a president and chief operating officer of Activision Blizzard, would die for. This guy would have died for those numbers over Activision Blizzard. Speaking of Activision Blizzard, their acquisition by Microsoft got blocked by Europe. So maybe he skedaddled out of there knowing something was going down. Looking over at crypto, Bitcoin 29.4, ETH 1900, Solana 22.4, $84. Crypto, it's just ranging, but it's not helping NFTs. Back to you in the studio.
Fantastic weather report as usual, Kick. Some other updates from the Nifty Daily Digest. You can sign up at thenifty.com. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong cautions against possible SEC enforcement action, stating it isn't in America's interest, and emphasized the exchange's compliance with financial regulations. They've done everything by the book and they're still getting punished. Bitcoin ordinal inscriptions surpassed the 2 million mark. People still inscribing all the time. And last but not least, Google Cloud collaborates with Polygon Labs to enhance Web3 development, to streamline transactions, and to provide developers with better management tools on the Polygon ecosystem. So those are your updates from the Nifty Daily Digest. Look, first story we have to discuss: Moonbirds having more issues, more mistakes, and as a result, more fear, uncertainty, doubt from the holders and the general NFT audience. So just to give context, after months of planning for the Diamond exhibition, when it came to the raffling of art pieces to holders of multiple passes that had the same art picks ended up receiving the same piece of art multiple times. So just to make sure everyone understands, most people did not want the same piece of art over and over again, so they ended up selling those, undercutting the floor, causing the value to go down. So then the artists that made those pieces weren't happy. So just everybody's unhappy here. The solution is going to be a smart contract being written where participants will be able to deposit their art and receive a new piece from the collection. There's also additional rare art that wasn't in the original collections, and some Moonbirds and Oddities holders will be and some Moonbirds and Oddities NFTs are going to be contributed to the mixer as a bit of an effort to relieve some of these issues. So the market reaction is that the Moonbirds floor is down 17%. It's now at 2.3 Ethereum, which is below its mint price in ETH terms, and way down in US dollar price because ETH was north of $3,000 when it minted. I'd love to know what Signal thinks of this. Signal held a Moonbird. Signal's, familiar with the proof ecosystem. What do you make of this debacle?
I feel sorry for them, man. It's just can't seem to catch a break on some of these drops that they've had. And it sounded like, the Harry from who does the tech side of things said in Discord that she was going to sort of put a hand up and take accountability of this, that it was that they were trying to push to get these airdropped by UK 5 p.m. time, and it was an event that they thought potentially could happen but didn't think that statistically would happen. But the good thing is that they come out with a solution very, very quickly. They're doing this reshuffle whereby you can deposit think of it like a swap. So you can put your art back into this raffle, if you like. There's going to be Moonbirds, oddities, some Grail, like 1 or 2 Grail pieces in there, some Beeple work, which the Treasury had bought. And then you'll be able to sort of hopefully get a better piece than what you had before because you obviously have a duplicate. And they're also going to be moving forward using Talon. So we know that Talon is going to be their new token coming out, an internal token that is. And I think they'll be moving to a model whereby Kevin Rose said they don't want to go down this raffle route, but rather than, if you're loyal and you've nested, then you have these tokens that thereby you'll be able to get these Grail pieces and these sort of special art pieces without having to go through a raffle system, but going through a token system. So the good thing here is that they responded very quickly, but obviously day one nesters, these guys have been there for 365 days. This was the big build up. It was the thing that was mentioned in the presentation after, the presentation that just happened earlier this year. So this is going to be the big exhibition, and it's just, a real pity for the team that it ended up going like this. But you know what? It hasn't sold up as much as I thought it would. It's at 2.2. I thought it would go sub 2, but it's holding 2.2. So we could just see it ranging here between 2.2 and 2.5, and it might not be as painful for the entire collection.
Great insight. Nice rebound off that negative 99% technical level. Signal, quick question. Quick question, Signal. I completely forgot what I was going to ask.
Nice rebound off of 0.
Yeah, it's down 99%. That's typically where you see the best rebounds. Nick, you traded a single Moonbird, if I recall correctly, on the parabolic run up. I think you probably made 10, 20 grand off of that. Profit. You bought it like 20 Ethereum and sold it like
20, 28. Basically.
Sold at like 36 or like some ridiculous number. We're familiar with what's gone down with Moonbird since then. You're familiar with startups and people raising money and the Web 2 world of that. What do you make of this?
It's a bug. Like the reality is they had a bug. And I think dude, we've had bugs on our site and you see people get just pissed off about it. The reality is what's most difficult, the code that's that you really need to test over and over and over again is on-chain code. That's where you need to do a lot of different. That's why Ethereum has a test network, is so that you can actually do that. Inevitably, though, there's sometimes things that you miss, and for us in our case, we ran into some issues. This seems like they didn't test a full drop. And because to do that is quite complicated and it requires a lot of money. And the Moonbirds team doesn't have enough money in order
to run it on a local node, man. It's pretty easy.
That was a joke. But but no, I mean, Kicks, dude, I'd love to know, how would you code this?
I don't know how to code, dude, but it doesn't seem like rocket science. You know what I mean? Make a art drop to wallets and
Chat GPT has already killed all programming jobs, according to Business Insider.
To me, it sounds like they were trying to hit a timeline and they kind of rushed it at the finish line. It's never going to end well with Web3 programming when you're trying to rush something to the finish line, and you're doesn't end well. You got to take your time on these things.
We ended up, I think, delaying our free NFT platform by 2 weeks from what the target was, which to me is a reasonable delay on software development. But I think that it's when you're communicating a particular date, then people are like, oh, you changed the date. We did that once.
Especially, dude, Nick, when you think about where Moonbirds is at right now, right? They're probably so wound up and trying to deliver and like they already feel like they have so much pressure on them. You know what I mean? That like they're probably really trying to hit deadline because like if they delay by 2 weeks, people are like, oh, it's a rug, like they're the rug, or this is bullshit, and so they end up trying to rush something and then it blows up being even worse. What I don't understand is, so did only day one nesters get to like kind of participate and benefit in this signal?
They were the first movers, so they were the ones who got the passes.
So like, dude, like, so I've been
But there's
holding
like 5,000 of them. There's a good bunch. It's like 5,000 of those holders.
and I've been holding for 250 days, but fuck me, right?
When you hit,
if you're not diamond status, then no. Okay, so it's like, don't try and come into business class when you're back in economy kicks. Okay, don't try and sneak into the
I've
next.
been only
class.
holding for 10 months. At least those guys got to go up. I've been holding down only. I should get in front of the line. Those guys didn't sell at the top. I didn't have a chance to sell.
That is some bullshit.
Going up. Yeah, I rode the graph all the way down. That's harder. That takes more conviction. Okay.
I want to hear what Clemente was going to say. Then Bunny has his hand raised. I'm sure Bunny was going to have electric insight. Clemente, what's going on?
I was just gonna say the same thing, but yeah, it's such a bummer because they took and I thought they had done it. Like I listened into their Twitter space 2 weeks ago where they were talking about diamond nesting and what was coming up, and I was like, the way everything was executed, like from a production point of view, the thread and the art and the announcements, I was like, damn, okay, this is it. They're going to crush this. Let's go. I went to their proof party. Tequila shots were incredible there. Phenomenal Bushwick tequila. But it's just the finish line, the last execution. It's such a bummer that they couldn't get it across because people were so excited. And this just is another hiccup that they ran into. So it's really a bummer to see.
It's a tough one. Bunny, you have your hand raised. What's going on?
Yeah, completely unrelated, PO. CoinDesk broke this like almost 30 minutes ago. It looks like Mike Sievers, the former EVP of EpicGames, is going to join Yuga as the chief technology officer on May 22nd. He was the CTO of Riot before that. So he's been behind like League of Legends, Valorant, Fortnite.
Okay.
A pretty big deal.
Damn. I mean, that is that's another key hire by Yuga Labs. So they have the former COO of Activision, if I'm getting that right. Am I right about that? Former COO of Activision.
And president as well.
And president. So huge name. He goes to Yuga. Now they got the former CTO of EpicGames, Riot Games specifically. I used to live in LA, and Riot Games.
He was the executive vice president at Riot, at Epic, and he was the CTO at Riot.
Well, there you go. I mean, Kix, what do you think of this man?
That's a big resume, dude. I mean, Riot Games is like the big studio on campus. Of course, they have League of Legends, massively popular. They're bigger than Dota in that genre. Valorant, biggest first-person shooter, like competitive first-person shooter. They like are the only studio that innovated on top of Counter-Strike Go for like 20 years, knocked that out of the park. Auto chess, they got Teamfight Tactics, best in the business. These guys are the best in the business. So if this guy wasn't there at the heyday, like this guy was on the way up. He was at Riot from like 2014 to 2020. So this is a big shooter, big deal.
Is heavy metal pumping as a result? Let me see this. I got to think. Maybe. Nick, what do you make of this hire? Is this crazy bullish for Yuga Labs?
Well, it's good that they're hiring people. Many tech companies are firing people. So usually the way that I interpret this is when people hire quality talent, that's generally good news. Firing quality talent is bad news. So when that said, the stock market loves when you fire people. So if you're firing a large quantity of people, that's a good thing. In private markets, pre-IPO, you're generally not looking for firings to take place. It happens, you have to navigate volatile markets. But in this case, this is generally bullish when we see a gaming company recruit successfully a major executive. And so I think from that standpoint, big move.
Well, thank you for that insight, Nick. That was phenomenal. I do actually, I mean, like my perspective is they are just collecting people, as Sam Parr, for all you growth hackers out there says, you have to collect people, and they are collecting some pretty good people over there at Yuga Labs that come from the gaming world. So I guess keep fading Yuga Labs as a gaming company, ladies and gentlemen. Clemente, it looked like you just pulled up something that was Cool Cats related that had to do with hiring and firing or something, right?
Yeah, Extreme Tom, I believe, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, announced that they are leaving, will no longer be involved in the daily operations of Cool Cats. And they cited that under the new leadership of our CEO, Steven, Cool Cats is focused on developing the IP and story with tech-heavy partners like Animoca and Futureverse. This has allowed me the opportunity to step into an advisory role. So they're essentially moving on. And I think most, if not all of the day one founders of Cool Cats are pretty much gone under the new CEO.
Hold on one second. So as you were saying that, I just pulled up Cool Cats. Nick, do not pull up Cool Cats. What is the floor price on a Cool Cat right now, Nick?
I'm going to go with 1.8.
Okay. Easy. What is the...
Wow. Come on now.
Oh,
it's 0.89, 0.9.
It's 0.82.
Okay, so I was a little lower than that. Yeah. I looked at this before this announcement, and it was right around that 0.85, 86 area. So I was hoping maybe we caught a little bit of a relief rally off this news, seeing that they're going to go a different direction. But clearly, they're just selling off even more.
Dude, you're going to have a company like us with single-digit millions flip Cool Cats. That's going to be a day that we're going to
we're going to pop a bottle of champagne, even though Nick doesn't drink, you know?
Oh, we're going to make them on this one. Come on now. We're celebrating.
join on stream. You know what I'm saying? On that day. More importantly, it's all the Cool Cats employees are always like hating. They're like, yo, we didn't get acquired. And I'm like, you did. And they're like, well, that news that came out, it didn't say acquisition. It talked about a partnership. And I'm like, yeah, by the same person that controls both organizations facilitated a partnership within your thing. But yeah, it's not an acquisition. I'm sorry. Instead, it's a disastrous private equity style, like rip out the insides of a company.
Literally gut the company.
Just gut them and demoralize.
They got a blimp in the Macy's Thanksgiving parade this year.
Do they really?
Yeah, that was part of his post.
Coming up?
Yeah, this Thanksgiving.
Wow, I'm looking forward to that.
Locked it in.
This November.
Early.
Yeah, I think there was a poll, right, between a couple NFT communities. I think they won.
Oh, okay. Well, I wonder what the floor price will be then in November.
0.4.
That is a gnarly capitulation. So right now the floor, $1,500 US for one Cool Cat. At the peak, I want to say $40,000 floor on Cool Cats. I want to say something like it was 10 ETH. They broke 10 ETH at $3,000 or $4,000 ETH. That's pretty crazy. That's insane. Wow. Look, these 2021 collections that just came out early and had good art and people liked the quote unquote vibes. The people that ran these things, they had a lot of money and they didn't deploy it in a way that led to price appreciation for the NFT assets. Cooltopia, for example, the in-person event that happened at, I want to say NFT NYC, 2 NFT NYCs ago, looked incredible, right? But I think it cost millions of dollars. And we know that in real life events, unless your name is Azuki, don't really convert to price appreciation of the digital assets. They can't be the only thing. You can't just do one event in a year and expect it to pump the price of the digital asset. Is Doodles going to go the way of Cool Cats? Yeah, easy.
I think they go faster, to be honest. Like, I genuinely don't know how they bounce back at this point. I'm looking at it. Dude, think about it. You think that they can ride the ship here?
Nick, how much does a doodle cost in US dollars right now? I just checked. I had no idea. How much do you think it costs for a doodle right now, US dollars?
$4,000.
$4,500.
Okay. That's a decent amount of money.
I'd say so. But what were you going to say in response to Easy?
I think it's more, it's just crazy to observe. The reality is that Cool Cats, I don't think the owner of Cool Cats gives a shit about NFT holders. And I think that
Ken Cron.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter. Like instead it was like, wow, you guys made revenue. Like, and objectively speaking, that is the correct way to from a like business standpoint. If you're going to just view that portion
Ken Cron, Web 1, AOL, business savage, 60-year-old, succession type guy.
Yeah. But
I mean, am I wrong? Like he's probably worth a lot of money.
But like he was an executive at AOL. I mean, I don't know. Like I don't. But yes, he's one of the characters in the cast. Okay, he's not in the billionaire's family. But and he's not a billionaire. But the biggest thing I would say is like what we talked to one of our investors, and he was like, "Oh, you guys sell art," and he like told it, and it was like just kind of disrespectful to like any NFT community if they like had heard that conversation. But
we were like, but Nick, remember we were like, no, you don't understand. It's not that.
Yeah. And hilariously, like as far as he was concerned from the financials, he was 100% accurate. Like it doesn't matter. Like the quote community does not show up as an asset on the books. It doesn't show up as anything. Basically, you could because it does not show up in the financials. Then from their mindset, it has nothing to fucking do with the business. Basically, like it really like you could talk about like brand value and stuff like that. Like Apple's brand does not show up on the books, but it's worth a ton. But inevitably, the question is like, if you were to remove all of the innards of Apple with the Apple brand, it would have some value. But basically, there would be nostalgic value associated with it. But as far as Cool Cats is worth right now in the broader market, and you were to put a price on what is the value of the brand of Cool Cats, I'd maybe put it at like a couple $1,000,000 if you're being like generous, and so that's what that's worth.
I mean, so here's the thing: it's still up 40x from mint. That's like, I mean, these things they didn't mint out at 0.08, and they like cut the mint to like 0.02 or 0.04 or something like that. Like, why did these things even run up to 14 ETH? You know what I mean? Like, like you can't look at these like crazy
milk
numbers.
video from Farouk.
The Farouk, yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I bought these things at 0.4 and sold them at like 0.7 like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like why did these run up to like 14 ETH? What was Cool Cats like? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make some of these numbers just in 2021, 2022 didn't even make sense. Why was a Cool Cat worth $75,000 a pop or like whatever it got at the top? It just didn't make any sense. At these numbers, it starts to make sense. It's still $1,000 for a picture of a cool cat. You know what I mean? Like,
so,
what are you getting with your cool cat? Like, at the end of the day, we kind of have to get, as now we're at the bottoms, OpenSea's at a 20-month low in volume. I think we kind of have to like reset our, expectations. It's still up a 40x from mint. If you bought it at 10 ETH, I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
I was going to say, someone corrected me on the balance sheet. You're correct. Larger brands do show up on the balance sheet as intangible assets.
Or goodwill.
It could be goodwill. It could be trademarks, patents, other things like that. It does show up. That said, when you're a small company, that number is going to be close to zero. And like you can, and inevitably, if you're a small business entity and you're putting a large number on your balance sheet for intangible assets, it's a little sketchy, but you can definitely do that.
Also,
Ross saying, oh, sorry, Single, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that you also need to benchmark Cool Cats against what the projects today are doing, like Pudgy Penguins, like Beans, like Utes, all of these projects, because they had, so Cool Cats had first mover advantage, World of Women, Bored Ape Yacht Club. A lot of the 2021 projects had first mover advantage. And we're seeing that a very, very, very small proportion of those projects released in that year are actually able to execute and grow and expand and bring products and services to market that people actually want. Very few have done that. The only one I can think off the top of my head right now is Bored Ape Yacht Club, who have done that the most successfully. So like when you're looking at projects like Cool Cats and looking at the valuation, I even think 0.8 might be even too high, just because if you look at what projects like Capsons are doing, Pudgies, they just don't seem to be moving in that direction, nor being able to capture the attention and momentum of what the market wants at the moment. And if they're not going to do that now with the new leadership, it makes it very difficult even to value it at 0.8. I would see these bleeding more if they're not able just to sort of move into the strategies and the tactics of what moves the needle on NFT projects. And that doesn't necessarily mean the floor, but it definitely means move the needle in attention and people wanting to hold that asset because they believe at some point in the future it will pay off. I don't think Cool Cats is doing that. And I think there are a lot of projects from 2021 who are not doing that as well, despite their treasury and their teams and their list of contacts.
I mean, the company is going to be fully gutted. I just don't understand why they didn't do that like fast and why they're like dragging it out. Like that's the one thing. The execution here is a little bit of a fumble, and actually not a little bit, a lot of a fumble. The only reason I could see that is that you want to bring the executive team on to like keep executing on the business. But you got to be like the sharkiest of sharks if you're going to like force someone, like you're essentially trying to like force someone to stay on after you've like diminished all of their equity position. And then you're basically saying, look, you have no upside, but I'm going to throw money in your face for a period of time, a moderate amount, not an extreme amount, so that you keep doing your fucking job. Okay. And I think like that, like this guy, Ken Cron, is a little bit of a wild card. You know, he just because you are an executive at any company doesn't mean that you're like it usually is aligned with, you'll see a lot of sort of entitlement that goes alongside that from many executives at companies that are even like flailing. And it's like because they have so much pride in the position that they have. I'm sure if you interviewed other people that worked with Ken Cron, some of them would be like, oh, that guy. Like he's a character, you know, and I think that from that standpoint, and my interpretation of him is he is quite a character. From what I heard, he was basically going around saying, I've acquired all of Cool Cat's assets, basically, or I have full control over the company. I'm acquiring it. So he told this whole narrative essentially with it. So I'm interested to see what ends up happening here. That said, like they're doing traditional intellectual property plays, and I think from that standpoint, they're poised to potentially do well. It's just not clear how that's reflected in the floor price. And I think what happens is when you kill the community, you kill the excitement, and a large portion of what drives NFT floor prices really is community enthusiasm about the project. And if you kill that, inevitably it kills the floor price. And so it doesn't necessarily reflect what could be going on in the traditional business world, which could be them with this Macy's Day Parade. There wasn't a Bored Ape in it last year. Like there was no Yuga asset that was sitting in the Macy's Day Parade. And I think from that standpoint, you know, Cool Cats has the cute character. They can compete with Pudgy theoretically. I just think that Pudgy is doing a lot better execution, and I think that you know, Luca knows how to drive the sort of Web3 communication narrative side of things that gets people excited. And Cool Cats is doing a disastrous job at that, and that's why the floor price is reflected. Doodles is another example of that. They could bring in traditional business people that would drive immense value on the IP side of things, potentially. Like you still got to like build a game or build toys or do whatever it is, basically. And we're going to end up with a bunch of toy companies. Cool. Well, what does that mean for the value of the NFT? We have no idea. And the reality is they're not doing things that drive, quote, Web3 narrative value. I look at D-Gods. I look at Pudgy Penguins. I look at even Yuga from that standpoint, and they're all doing things on that front. So I think all these things have potential, though.
I thought that was a fantastic analysis of, all these things. I think the thing that sticks out to me is like, there was every opportunity for Cool Cats to do toys. They've been around for like 2 years. At some point, I do have to point out maybe a lack of sense of urgency, especially when you have, a lot of resources. I think about Gutter Cat Gang, for example. Nick, what do you think the floor price is of Gutter Cat Gang right now?
Remember when I bought that at 1 ETH? And then I sold it for 0.9. So let's say I'm gonna
These look cheap.
I'm gonna go okay, 0.6.
0.88, which is higher than that, but regardless, another
Sold at 0.9 basically.
Didn't these touch 10? Or like they were really close to 10? It was pretty high.
Our head of IP, DeBunny, stated that they would go to 20. So he actually has a viral clip.
For a wild prediction, Easy.
People don't forget.
Yep. That's right, Bunny. I mean, look, yeah, at some point I do have to ask whether, it's that comparison that I've made before. It's like, okay, startups fail all the time, but in New York, if you work at a startup that's venture funded, there's an office and people go to work every day. So whether or not they're executing at an elite level, they're in the office, they're having meetings, they're doing a job, they're hiring people that do like a job. And a lot of times in this crypto space, I just don't see that. I don't see the same level of urgency, professionalism, structure that when you go and interview with a startup company in New York that you get, because it's an actual legit company with an office that people go into every day or most days. So anyway, we're going to move on to buy, sell, or send it to zero with our very own Easy Eats Bodega, everyone's favorite segment, in just a second.
Everyone's favorite segment?
I think a lot of people like it. You don't, clearly it's not yours.
We ran a poll.
Wow.
Said this is the best segment, especially when Nick is not here. And I was like, wow, that's aggressive.
Wow. I mean, Nick, what's your favorite segment if it's not buy, sell, or send it to zero?
I mean, it's anyone where I'm talking.
Well, you talking this segment. You talking. It's not buy, sell, or send it to zero with Nick O'Neill. So maybe that's where the resistance is coming from.
Team?
Imagine if we call it buy, sell, or send it to zero with Nick O'Neill. He's just gonna be like, what the hell?
Zero.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, one quick shout out to our sponsor, Segmint. You've heard me talk about them before. If you're ready to take your NFT game to the next level, then Segmint is the spot for you, the platform for you. Segmint revolutionizes the way you interact with your digital assets through their lock and key model. So NFT owners can now unlock the full potential of their assets by sharing ownership with other users through ERC 1155 tokens. So what this means is that you can collab, you can build communities, and you can even communicate. You can chat with the new owners of your NFTs, creating a whole new level of engagement and excitement. Don't worry if you're new to NFTs, Segment's platform is designed to be ultra user-friendly. Everyone should easily be able to navigate and interact with their NFTs. So whether you're an OG or you're just starting out, Segment's got you covered. If you go to segment.io and you sign up for Segment's beta to discover, you'll discover the future of NFT asset sharing. All listeners listening right now that join their Discord, I'm sure Clemente has it pinned to the top with the link, will receive a special role for being part of the Nifty's audience. So check out segment.io, click on our link. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have everybody's favorite segment, unless your name is Nick O'Neill. Buy, sell, or send it to zero with our very own Easy Eats Bodega, day trader extraordinaire.
I just bought one.
No, you don't.
Please sell it.
Oh, no.
Zero. Send it to zero, Easy. This thing is garbage.
Ladies and gentlemen, buy, sell, or send it to zero with our very own Easy Eats Bodega. We are going to present 3 NFT collections along with their current floor prices. And Easy is going to let us know if he's buying, selling, or sending to zero. Of course, we will consult our other panelists, including the one and only Nifty Nick, and make sure that we get everybody's opinions on these 3 collections. Easy, are you ready for buy, sell, or send it to zero?
I've never been more ready.
Let's go. First collection, Artifact Animus Egg at 0.54 Ethereum. Its price has now decoupled from CloneX. It's been holding steady over the past 30 days, while CloneX is actually down 11%. The speculation on Twitter is now that Season 1 forging has been completed, and the focus is going to shift to the Animus Eggs. And a Murakami Animus is the cover of the Artifact special event, which is apparently occurring this Sunday. Easy. Buy, sell, or send it to 0 at 0.54 ETH.
Oh, I think I'm a buyer of these at 0.54.
Wow.
Yeah, so CloneX has kind of started shifting a little bit of the marketing narrative. They clearly have a plan for these. They did cut that supply based on the total number that they were going to drop. And with the event on Sunday, I think that this is their opportunity to really kind of separate themselves from the IRL forging event and actually give something into this like avatar ecosystem. It could have completely flopped, but I think at 0.54, I think it's good opportunity for a 50-60% run up to like 0.75,
easy.
We don't know. It's just an IRL event that's focused on this.
I just saw those launched in November, dude. That's a long reveal for those little eggies.
Yeah.
What those eggies gonna pop? How long does it take a chicken to pop an egg? 3 months?
I don't think it's that long. Yeah.
Kix, you've been in and out of the Artifact CloneX ecosystem many times, I think dating back to Ferocious Shoes on Nifty Gateway.
Yeah.
What do you make of this one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. They got a lot of different. If these things reveal and they're cool, you know, I think you could see like a pump on the reveal. But when are they going to reveal? You know what I mean? Maybe there's some news about it on Sunday. I mean, you are buying it. If you buy it right now, you're buying it at the, you know, pretty close to the all-time lows. So I guess that's kind of, you know, buy the dip-ish. But I just don't know enough to make a play. You know what I mean? Like if you hold these and they don't reveal for another 3 months, like I don't see how they would go up. But as Easy said, it may be if they like tease it out on Sunday. I don't even know what they're doing on Sunday. Maybe that's bullish, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so are they selling more? Is that what I'm reading here in these notes? Is there a public sale? Clemente, I don't know if you can weigh in on that or if Easy knows.
I believe they canceled. So it was supposed to be
They were supposed to
a 40K supply. So it's supposed to be half of the supply is a free claim for CloneX holders, and then they were going to do a public sale. But I believe because of market conditions and they didn't believe that it would bode well for the price. I don't know if they're doing the public sale anymore. I don't think so.
Yeah, they got a lot of FUD, like a lot. They were just straight up like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, this is ridiculous. Don't do this. And then they were like, all right, we will. And only released the initial batch, but it looks like they're not releasing more.
Wow. Well, that would have been a big extraction thing. Nick O'Neill, buy, sell, or send it to 0 with Nick O'Neill. Are you a buyer, seller, or are you sending Artifact Animus Egg to 0 at 0.54 ETH?
I don't even know what the hell these things are. Like, dude, I'm so out of that ecosystem. Outside of, I just want my shoes, man. Like, why don't they just cut the whole, like, all this nonsense with bullshit NFTs that they're creating? Like, pause that for a moment. The being digital and physical is actually way too complicated for my little brain, basically. Like, I think if I can go buy a shoe that's upcoming that looks like hot and I can get that as an NFT, to me, that's cool. I'd like to just keep it as simple as that. Anything else associated with this, to me, is like just way too complicated, and it's completely unnecessary, because they could probably be just selling 6 shoes for thousands of dollars and make a killing at that particular. They could probably make $1 billion a year just building that portion of the business. There's all this other shit going on with it that I just have no idea what the hell the deal is. I'd sell the PFPs, burn them, like get rid of the PFPs. The whole CloneX thing is a scam. Just focus on, just focus on this one thing. It's like the days of, look, our focus is how do you remain non-dilutive, and instead a lot of these projects, it's like they look at the thing which is like, oh, I can just generate more revenue. And CloneX is one of those people. I think conversely, they have a really talented team that can build sick shit. Why not just focus on that? Like,
they're acquired by Nike. So yeah, I'd say they have a pretty decent team, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I just think that
That thing looks cooler than a Coda, kind of.
Is that a Coda?
Big guy. What's the big guy? I want the big guy. What's that big tank looking guy wearing the armor?
I think the big tank looking guy is the Animus.
Okay.
Okay, who's the small guy? Is that just a
Exactly. You're finally piecing it all together. Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just listening, we pulled up a quick video of the CloneX or Artifact Twitter account showing "quote unquote" Project Animus. I also want to know what an electric segment this would be if it was buy, sell, or send it to zero with Nick O'Neill. We asked him about this collection. The first thing he said is, "I don't know anything about this bullshit." So I think that's what the audience wants to hear. Before we move on, we got to go to our resident fashionista, Signal Looking Fly.
I like Nick's opinion. He's just like, oh, send it to zero, which is pretty much where everything's going anyway. So in the end, he's going to be right. You just need to give him another 18 months, maybe. No, on this, you know what? I have a bit of PTSD with CloneX and their boxes, like the Monoliths and Monolith 2. And then now you have this egg. And I'm just like, it's like, what's in the box? What's in the fucking box, man? That's how I feel about Animus. I just don't feel excited at all. I think that one of the monoliths had a coupon in it. I mean, you give someone a box and they got a coupon. I'm just not excited. So that's my biggest thing. It's just, it's a bit, the fizz isn't there. So for me, it's a sell. I'd rather put that 0.5 somewhere else.
That's a sell from Signal. Well, and that's a buy call, though, officially from Easy for this segment. So you got to buy from Easy at 0.54 ETH. Sounds a little bit selly all around from everybody else. Second collection, Ravendale at 0.95 ETH. 928 supply, small supply. It gives holders allowless for the anticipated Waltz Vault drop, which is also a Coal World collection. It's up 88% over the last 24 hours. It actually peaked at 1.2 Ethereum before pulling back to 0.95 Ethereum. I saw Bunny tweeting about it. Easy, before you even give us the call, what's the story with this?
Yeah, so Waltz Vault, like if you notice, like the ETH side of things has actually been somewhat quiet, like NFT wise.
Yeah.
For sure. So like this is probably one of the most anticipated drops over the last month and a half. And I think people just want something to get excited about. Yeah. That audio, man.
Rubber hose art to the maximum here.
Yeah. So it does remind me of like Cellmates with the black and white aspect, but more of like the Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse historic kind of play. But they've got a ton of animations. All the PFPs are animated as well in a walking motion. So we've seen some success with that with Invisible Friends. We've seen some pushback on that with Iron Paw Gang. There's a lot of like Clandestores have absolutely crushed it. So it's back and forth on that side. But I think because of the lack of interest right now on ETH NFTs, something like this can get people excited. The tough part for me though is Waltz Vault at 1.2 and then having to mint this sub 0.1. You're basically anticipating that you're going to get an over 1.5 ETH for the two assets. So I would be selling Ravendale here and honestly probably buying a Waltz Vault right before sellout, just to play the initial pump.
So that's a sell call from Easy. Speaking of sells, Easy brought up Cellmates, which I think was an apt comparison because it is also rubber hose art. When Cellmates came out, it was trading very high. It traded, I think, as high as 0.9, maybe even broke 1 ETH. Is that right, Easy? I think
it broke an ETH.
It broke an ETH, and it was
very briefly. I believe it was like 1.02, 1.03.
It's an art, and people were like, Macbeth is a great artist. He's a great artist. And it's like, cool. This is a very high supply, collection for an artist, and it's a PFP collection that's pure play art. What do you think the floor on Cellmates is right now?
0.18.
0.06.
Damn, way lower. The difference here with this Waltz Vault, though, is like, it's a much smaller supply. It's a 4K supply. So that helps. And the first thing they said out the gate is we're going to make this even lower, like deflationary across the board. So if they would do the marketing right, I think you could find a profitable opportunity. But for whatever reason, though, I just think Ravendale is like where it's just all the speculation. And this is like a decent example of like what can happen. Because Cellmates had a ton of hype and speculation on it, but it's like it's an attention economy. And if you just struggle at all in that capacity, it becomes more difficult.
Well, when you sell 7,000 NFTs, you are like a startup at that point.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like, if you're an artist, you can just sell like one of ones, right? It would take you a long time to sell 7,000 one of
It's all
one.
open editions. Like there's ways to do it where you can get exposure. And I think like, do you have all these assets? Theoretically, you could have done one of ones for them, like instead and created like, there's different ways I think that it could have been done from like a market standpoint. What do I know? I'm not an artist.
Yeah, so that's an official sell call from Easy. Bunny, I saw you tweeting about this. Are you buying, selling, or sending it to zero?
Thanks, man. You skipped me on the first round. I would actually buy this. I think we could see it get back to like the 1 point. I would be selling it before Sunday though, if I bought it here. I think we can get back to where it was.
Was that a buy and a sell call in the same call?
I'm buying. What I'm saying is I would be dumping it before Walt's Vault minted on Sunday.
Okay. And you're right. I did skip you. My apologies, Bunny. For the Artifact Animus egg, just to circle back, are you buying, selling, or setting that one to zero?
Oh, I'm selling it. It's ran up from like 0.4 to like 0.55 or wherever it is now. Who knows when these things are going to reveal. And then they're going to dump on reveal. To be honest, it's probably going to zero. We should just say send it to zero for all of them. Maybe Nick's onto something.
There you go, Bunny. Anyone else have any comments on Ravendale? I think that this is a collection that's relatively new. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have like an encyclopedia level knowledge on this one. Anyone else on the panel on Ravendale Kicks? Do you know anything about this one?
No, I don't know anything about this other than good old Bert, our boy Bert hit me up about it when I was on the bachelor party. Said it was a good buy at 0.4, so that was an awesome trade up to 1.2. Yeah, I think it's just once something gets to 1 ETH, you need a lot of rocket fuel in that engine to send that thing, above there, right? Like, you got to get to 2 ETH for a 2x. I liked it a lot better when you're buying it for 0.2 or 0.4 and getting that big gainer out of it. It's just hard to make money on NFTs after they go past 1 ETH. It just really is. Like
in this market, damn straight it is.
Yes.
That's for sure. All right, well, moving on to the final collection, Chimpers at 0.6 ETH. This is a 5,555 piece collection. It's effective 10,000 like equivalent market cap would be 0.33 ETH. While Beans and Pudgy Penguins are in the limelight for their social media growth, Chimpers is actually having similar growth. They had their 5th highest watched video last week, have over 3 million views. Clemente, what platform is that on?
Instagram. It's on Instagram.
Wow. So they're crushing it on Instagram. They have 200,000 followers on Instagram. That's nuts. They appear to have had success with their dojo staking and their quests, although there are questions about the kind of long-term North Star feature in the collection. Easy. Chimpers at 0.6 Ethereum. Are you buying, selling, or sending it to zero?
I like the chart on Chimpers right here, to be honest. I'm a buyer. It looks to have bottomed out when you actually look at the chart. Actually yesterday, 4 days ago, sorry. The 25th, 24th. Looks to have bottomed out right around half an ETH and shown some very good signs of support, up over 20% off that right now. And I mean, it's only been trending down over the last 30 days from almost an ETH, which seems... Say that again?
I think from mint, it made like on the mint day, it was that they were like 4 ETH.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the 30-day chart though. So I mean, like for me, that looks good. You have about 200 of these listed, which is not a ton. A lot of them staked right now. And yeah, I mean, this feels good here, to be honest. Top bid spread is really small on it. So I mean, from like a pure standpoint like that, it looks really good from trading technicals, but then also their reach is growing rapidly. And like, I've like been very interested in them because of the Beans, because of the Pudgy social brands, and they've done a very good job with their ability to market and get interest from that perspective.
Fantastic. And I mean, I know Signal knows a lot about, and that's a buy call, officially a buy call from Easy here. Signal, what do you make of Chimpers here?
I've always been a fan of Chimpers. Honestly, I don't know if you remember these guys, but we had the alpha. If you were listening to the Nifty Portal morning show, Misa and Harriman came on when these were at 0.15 and was like, this is alpha, this is a buy. And I don't know if you bought, I bought, and it went all the way up to like 3. Some of the Chimpers were going for like 4 ETH at the time. So, and since then, the team have just continued to build. If you talk to people who know the team, people always speak well about them. Clemente brings up up a great point about comping them to Beans and to Pudgies on Web2 and seeing those numbers. They're growing very well. They're going to be shipping their third game as well. The price right now is down at 0.6. If you look at some of the bigger influential accounts who like them a lot, like D-Farmer, a couple of other big names like Chimpers as well. Also, a friend of the show, B-Check, he writes about them all the time. He's a good account to follow if you want to know what's happening with Chimpers. This team is building. I think they're a little bit under the radar, to be honest, but they're one of those teams that I think are going to, like, when the next bull comes along, their effort and their work, you're going to see it pay off. So I'm a fan of Chimpers. I think at 0.6 they look interesting.
Another buy call here. Kicks, Clemente, Bunny, anybody on Chimpers here?
I'm holding my liquidity for some new stuff. I'm a big, new stuff, new narrative, pumperoni kind of guy. So I'm gonna sit on the sidelines for most of the stuff and wait. I wish them, the best of luck. I already got enough bags of like existing projects. You know what I mean? I think it's just, who knows? You get a Pixelmon kind of recovery on some of these things, which is like a great trade. But for me, I just think, just where the market is right now, there's so many projects, such little liquidity. I think a lot of liquidity concentration is going to be on the new stuff. So I'm just going to sit on my hands.
Fair. Nick, you were laughing. Any input here?
My version of this show is just going to be called Send It to Zero with Nifty Nick. And it's going to be like literally me just being like, yep, that project going to zero.
Well, but you were I think you were in the restroom or wherever you were while we were discussing it.
I was listening to Chimpers.
Okay, 200,000 Instagram followers, broke 3 million views on an Instagram post.
And I just looked at their further before, previous weeks. They have a video with 22 million views
on Instagram.
I mean, it's impressive.
How's that working out for him?
Bunny, the king of what does it do for the NFTs? The head of IP at the Nifty.
I will say with this one though, the thing, my only hang up with it, and part of the reason why I bought a Beans was I'm like, hey, they're building something but I just see with Pudgy Penguins and Beans, there's a clear top of the funnel and where that funnel can go to, right? Beans have their collaboration with Line Friends. Pudgy Penguins have the toys and the merch that they can sell from that top of the funnel, eventually convert them. My only hang up with Chimpers is okay, where does this top of the funnel, where is it leading to? And that's the only hang up that I have here. But it is incredibly cool to see I saw this account grow from less than 10,000 followers to now 200,000. It's been cool to see that go down. But that's my only hang up with is where do they go from here?
I think that's good insight. Look, we're going to see what this social media strength converts to. Nick, any closing thoughts on Chimpers?
No.
Nice. Well, for the record, that was for these three collections. It was actually from Easy, a buy on Artifact, a sell on Ravendale, Artifact Animus egg, by the way, a sell on Ravendale, and a buy on Chimpers at 0.6. We will have to see how this plays out. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Buy Seller Send It to Zero. One more shout out to our sponsor for today, Segmint. So imagine being able to tap into the true value of your NFT collections and create new possibilities for collaboration in the space. That's what Segmint's lock and key model enables you to do. By locking your NFTs in Segment smart contract and creating those access keys you've been hearing me talk about through ERC 1155 tokens, you can share ownership with others, you can delegate utility, and you can even access liquidity from your previously illiquid assets. But we know security is of paramount importance. It's just as important as accessibility. And that's why Segment's platform is designed with top-notch security and asset custody at the forefront. You can trust that your digital assets are safe and secure and still be able to unlock those new possibilities and features. So don't let your NFTs collect virtual dust. Check out segment.io. That's segmint.io. And sign up for Segment's beta to discover the future of NFT asset sharing. All listeners who join the Discord right now will receive a special role for being part of the listenership of this show. Check out the pinned tweet at the top. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. We do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time each and every week. We will be back next week with free NFTs too. So everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe.